Hi, I'm Robert, Daddy Macias. We started dadcares2.com a few months back because I wanted to set up a site to help fathers and help other parents out there homeschool their children. Because this is something that we started almost 2 years ago. It's a long journey. And my son right now is 5. And he's going on 6 in a few months. He's 5.5. But I'm going to give you 10 tips to help you get started with homeschooling. Because if you're like us and we're new to it, there's a lot of things that you just want to understand or you don't even have any idea about. So I'm going to give you 10 tips, and this is going to really help you get started. Okay? Now, first off, dads, I want to tell you something. This is something that I didn't realize until I started getting into it as well. But actually, to do homeschooling, depending on how old your kid is, like our kid is almost going to be starting the first grade, it's only going to take less than half a day. Okay? It's not many hours. Now, if you go to our website at dadcares2.com, that's dadcarestoO.com/tips, I made a table that shows you exactly how many hours it takes to do homeschooling based on the age of your child. So go there, dadcares2.com/tips. Oh, excuse me, it's the morning. So yeah, roughly it takes half a day. Now, if your child is in middle school or in high school, it's going to take them a little bit more time. But really, if you think about the seat time, the time they actually are going to spend in the chair studying something, it doesn't take as long as you might think. Now, this was quite a surprise. Okay? Now, the second tip I want to share. There are actually so many online courses available out there. It's actually unbelievable. And not only that, there are also curriculums that are absolutely free if you go searching. And there's actually more curriculums than you could possibly even consider. So if you're looking for a Christian curriculum or non-secular curriculum or Charlotte Mason or a classical type of curriculum, there are so many options available, really. And if you're wondering what is all that, well, that's why I say, yeah, check out our website. We have also some information about the different flavors of homeschooling. This is quite interesting too. Okay. Now, the third thing I want to share with you is if you want to get started with homeschooling, depending on your state or where you're living, you're going to need to inform the school board or your school that you're doing homeschooling. And this is actually also very simple too. For our hometown, I checked online. You just go online and you download a simple form. It's a letter of intent, and you'll inform the school and the school board that you're planning to homeschool your child. And it's not very difficult, actually. You fill it out, you send it, you wait for their acknowledgement, and that's it. It's really not very difficult. Okay, so the fourth tip. This is also something we prepared as well. There are so many curriculums and styles of homeschooling. So the basic types are, number one, the free ones. And these are the kind of curriculums that you are going to prepare for yourself. If you just have some idea in mind of how you want to do it, you can easily prepare yourself. You can go to the library, you can go to the bookstores, and you prepare all the subjects by yourself. It's very time consuming, but it might be quite interesting for you, right? Now, a different type of way of preparing your curriculum is, once again, is through the online systems. Like Khan Academy, for example. They have a whole website dedicated, and resources listed by subjects, by grade. Everything is free, and it's at your fingertips through your phone, through your tablet, through your PC. And then there's also curriculums offered through co-ops. Now, the co-op is a cooperative that's in your neighborhood. It's a group of other homeschooling parents that offer their own curriculums, perhaps through their private school, or they use some other type of curriculum that you might have access to. You might even get a better price. Well, how do you even prepare? Because there's a lot of information to take in. And sorry, I have to have a sip of coffee. But there is one resource that I'll have to say you have to check out. It is The Well-Trained Mind by Susan Bauer Rice. I've also linked this in our website as well. You can go check it out. This book gives you an overall feeling of homeschooling, and it's using the classical method of education. It's using the classical method of education, and that's based on teaching a child, depending on their age. You will focus on different ways of teaching them. When they're younger, they're very easy to remember all kinds of stuff. When they're in middle school, they start needing a foundation of logic. And then as they get into high school, they can already start debating things and connecting things. And this is a very useful book as well, because they also have lots of information and resources, and they give you schedules and examples. It's really, I would say it's quite an amazing book, and I use it as a reference. So this is really going to help you get started, okay? Now the sixth tip is, this is something you should definitely check, and that is to check your state laws about homeschooling. When you need to turn in your letter of intent, for example, and are there any other requirements? For example, do you have to keep a record of what you're teaching your kid this year? Do you have to keep a record of the tests and evaluations you give? And for example, in Florida, they also require you to have a yearly assessment, and that's administered by a teacher, a certified teacher. So depending on where you live, you're going to have to check this out. This is I guess common sense, but you'll have to follow the laws in your area. Okay. Now the seventh tip is about the cost of homeschooling. Some people ask, "Wow, homeschooling, it must be free, right?" Well, it depends on all the materials that you invest in. For example, science classes and chemistry classes will require lots of equipment and chemicals and things to run your experiments. So of course you're going to have to spend some money, unless you join a co-op, or you can find some used materials and, I guess, equipment. And this is what some people do. You don't need to spend too much though. So actually, according to some sources online, you can spend anywhere from, based on the statistics, $50 to $500 US per child per year. So there is a range, and I guess you can say it can fit most budgets, and you can go from $50 to $500 or even more, I imagine. Now the eighth tip is, actually, Dad, you will find the time to do homeschooling. Whether or not, for example, it's going to be in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evenings. For example, in our situation, my wife is a music teacher. She works all throughout the day. It's not a regular schedule, it depends on her students. And in the evening, she's always teaching. So I will be doing some homeschooling when I get back from work. So I'll do homeschooling after my son eats, and we do it for roughly 30 minutes to an hour before he has some time to relax and get ready for bed. So he's only 5.5. We don't need to spend that much time, but we're soft starting him. So we're adjusting it and doing it in the evenings. Now, you could very easily do it in the mornings or in some other time of the day, depending on the age of your kid. So you're certainly going to need to schedule some time and adjust your schedule with your spouse, but it is very doable. Now, the ninth thing that I would like to share with you, it's a really good tip that somebody gave us as well, is there are lots of organizations in your neighborhood. For example, church organizations and homeschooling co-ops, and also Facebook groups. If you go online, you can check that out. But recently we found a church nearby that has a very large homeschooling community. And once you get in touch with them, you can get so many more insights. You can get access to resources. Maybe they want to share some good advice about what they're doing. And you can also even find out about the local reporting requirements. So if you join one of these co-ops or church organizations in your neighborhood, it's really going to help you a lot, okay? And the 10th thing is that overall, since we've started, we realize that homeschooling is it's a community effort. It's not something that you need to do only by yourself. There are a lot of people out there that are willing to help you and provide their assistance, including your local school board. I was very surprised in my hometown. They have a specific page set up for people who want to homeschool, and it just lays out very clearly what you need to do, how to apply, when to do it, and they also list all the forms and other resources. Now, that's in Florida. There are some states that are a bit more difficult to deal with. For example, like in California, when I checked out their information, it was a bit more, I guess you could say, well, you kind of have to figure things out by yourself. They don't really seem to encourage you to do homeschooling. But overall, this movement is changing, and especially due to coronavirus, there are a lot of people that are considering homeschooling. And we're really happy that we started almost 2 years ago before all this started. So those are my 10 tips. And if you want to see some of the schedules and some of the resources that really helped us, like this book, for example, The Well-Trained Mind, go to our website, dadcares2.com/tips, and you'll see some helpful resources and something that can help you along your way for homeschooling. Thank you.